I'm Steven.
And I'm Kevin.
In today's Halloween episode of the Steven and Kevin Show, we're going to cover
how to deal with do-it-yourself investors,
Facebook privacy settings,
and some last-minute Halloween ideas.
Whew. Can't imagine wearing that for trick-or-treating. It's awful. All right, so welcome back to episode 4, today's Halloween edition, Kevin.
Yeah, the special edition.
I imagine you're going to be doing some trick-or-treating. What kind of candy are you hoping for, little boy?
You know, I really anything I can get my hands on, Steven. It's funny. I remember one of my neighbors one time actually came over to my house and he had a mask on. And I was thinking, why is he doing? He's way too old. He was with his kids, but he actually wanted candy.
We get all types. They bust them into our neighborhood, and yeah, you get the old ones coming in a little bit late. I myself am looking forward to some Snickers with peanut butter. If I find some of those, good luck, kids. They're coming home with me.
Peanut butter Snickers.
I had one the other night. Snuck one out of the neighbor's candy bowl. Good stuff.
Great. So what's Avery going to be this year?
I've got a transformer.
And
a crocodile on my hands.
Okay.
I'm just hoping they use their little legs and actually walk around this year instead of being toted around in the wagon.
Oh, wow.
Optimistic.
It blows my mind that Transformers are still relevant today.
They're down to rescue bots, Kevin. Got the whole theme song and all.
Rescue bots? Really?
Oh, yeah. Check them
Wow.
out.
Okay.
It's a good show. But, Halloween's a good time. Good time for client schmoozing.
Yeah.
Good time for getting around, having a little bit of fun.
It's definitely one of my favorite holidays. Okay.
So, Kevin, hey, let's hit it off. Question number 1. What's this is coming from? Again, if you have questions for us, ask Steven and Kevin is the hashtag on Twitter. This one's coming from @WilliamOnMoney. He says, what's the best approach to working with do-it-yourself investors?
Oh, thanks for the question, William. Yeah, this is a good question, and I'm sure a lot of advisors deal with do-it-yourself investors. And how should we go about approaching them? Well, if you take a look at some of the research, we have research on this. A very small percentage of them are actually planning to hire a financial advisor in the next 12 months.
Yeah, so you might run across some people who have good size account. You know this. You've talked to them about investments, but they manage it themselves. It's our opinion. They're not the greatest prospect.
Yeah, I mean, the research here, 2% would definitely consider hiring an FA in the next 12 months. 11% would probably consider that.
And we asked them, and this was one of the more interesting things, what is it that would make you hire an advisor? You don't have one now. What would make you hire an advisor?
What's the trigger?
Yeah, top 3. If they became too ill to manage their own investments, if they needed help with a complex tax issue, or if they found a financial advisor they felt really strongly about.
Yeah, so I mean, the one that we can maybe somewhat control is finding someone they feel really strongly about. Right?
Yeah, and also looking out for those who have typically managed their own investments. They enjoy doing it, but they may be getting older. They may have an illness. They may have a major life event coming up, like selling a business or retirement, that may make them a little shaky and want to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you can do, William, if you're sitting down with a do-it-yourselfer kind of an investor, I mean, obviously, if there's someone who wants to do it themselves, and it's going to be hard to change their decision, but I like using a little bit of psychology from time to time and tell them something like, that's absolutely fine, Steven. More power to you if you'd prefer to handle it yourself, if you'd like that responsibility. And that responsibility,
Gulp.
Right? Gulp. Yeah, I did make you gulp a little bit. And it is a big responsibility. So you have to make it clear to them that, not hiring a professional is a little bit of a risk.
Many people want the responsibility of managing their own money.
I love that. I think
like
it's fantastic language.
Yeah, but again, don't waste too much time on these folks. They may not be a great prospect for you. Question number 2 today, Facebook privacy settings. And this one came from @TigerWM. Facebook for FAs. Many Facebook-savvy people have many social memories they wouldn't want to mix with business. How do you attack that?
This is a great question, and many of you probably, we're talking about the personal side of Facebook. Maybe you were an early adopter to Facebook, and you've been on the network for 10 plus years, and maybe you have a lot of cleaning up to do.
I'm curious.
A lot of pictures.
Tiger WM, what kind of pictures you have up here?
Yeah, Tiger, maybe, who knows
Look
what's
out
going
for a
on
friend
there.
request. It's coming here in a little while.
Right. But
is this which Tiger is this? Tiger WM. Is this Tiger Woods by chance?
Yeah, right. We wish that we had Tiger Woods asking us a question on this show. But So here's some research, and I think this is interesting here. So we did some research asking affluent investors would they consider connecting with their advisor. 67% of those with a business and social relationship would be open to connecting with their advisor on Facebook. 39% of those with a business-only relationship are open to connecting with their advisor. So this tells us, first off, in terms of connecting with clients, you have to kind of earn the right to connect.
Yeah, you don't just make it part of your process that every new account you bring on board, there's an instant Facebook request. It's inappropriate for some.
It is inappropriate. There's a culture to Facebook, and you have to respect that culture. The other thing is there are definitely some privacy settings that you want to be aware of. It's tricky with Facebook because they're always changing their privacy settings.
It is, and with every social network, you want to be very much on top of what they're revealing about you.
Yeah.
And they do change it. It's in their interest to have you sharing everything, and it's not necessarily in your interest.
Yeah, so here's a couple that we marked down today. Obviously, there's a lot to do with privacy settings on Facebook, but here are some that we think are absolutely essential. One here is reviewing posts friends tag you in before they appear on their timeline. So basically, your ability to approve posts that someone just tags you in. So I took this picture of Steven out last Saturday night.
Woohoo!
Yeah, a little inappropriate. I tag him, and all of a sudden, all of Steven's friends are seeing this picture, and he doesn't want that. So change that setting so Steven actually would have to go and approve that before he's tagged in that picture.
Right. So that's for posts going forward.
Yep.
That doesn't affect posts that you have up there historically that you may be not wanting to share with clients.
Yep, great one. The next one is who can post on your timeline. So who can I can go to Steven's timeline and I can post things, right? And Steven may not want just anyone doing that. Maybe he wants to make it only him. And so you can change that. And then a big one here is creating lists.
Yeah, and this is the key to using Facebook for Business, which,
I think
by the
so.
way, we really think you should do.
Yes.
When we asked Kevin, some of the influencers in our last social media project, why Facebook, or what's the biggest benefit, it was learning more about the people in your network.
Yes.
And they're always posting stuff about grandkids or trips or pictures from their recent weekend party, whatever it is.
It's the home of major life events.
Right. So we'd recommend you get on there, but be smart about it. If you have certain lists or certain memories that you don't want to share with all clients, Tiger, you can create a list specifically for clients.
Yes.
And you put all the clients into this list, and you can then enable and disable which albums they view in your Facebook.
Yeah, so I'm sure that Tiger here is most nervous about the pictures, right? And that's probably going to be some of the more incriminating information on his Facebook. So if you have albums, you create that list, go in, you can set custom settings in each album to see who can see that list. So maybe you have certain albums that are just client-approved albums, right? Mm-hmm. Ones that you feel really good about that anyone could see, and only let clients see those.
Yeah, you at the recent charitable dinner, you helping your kid with their homework, you looking like the upstanding citizen in your community. Right. Those are ones you want to share. That's the part of being on here. And we're not saying don't share anything. You want to be sharing information about yourself. That's part of the drill. But if you've got things on there that need to be cleaned up, clean up your pictures. If you want to keep these pictures, but at the same time still have clients connect with you, compartmentalize, use a list, and understand those privacy settings. And no offense to Tiger out there, you probably do a great job.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure you're going to find out. I'm going to find out because I'm looking at your Facebook after this. And
but
it's a big deal.
Question. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. And last up today, Kevin.
Last question in our Halloween episode.
This one came in from a coaching client. Says, what are some last-minute Halloween suggestions for advisors?
Last-minute Halloween suggestions. So we're recording this today on Wednesday. Hopefully it's going out by tomorrow, Thursday. So you have just a couple days here. So we have to give you some stuff you could actually use right away.
Yeah, and so here's a few ideas for you. This is first one comes from Shark Tank, Kevin.
Yeah, so I saw a Shark Tank episode recently with a product called Switch Witch. And it's kind of like Elf on a Shelf, but for Halloween. And I thought that was an interesting concept that basically your kids don't need this pillowcase full of candy, right? They come home, they have all this candy. They have candy for the rest of the year, right? So the idea here is that it has a little doll, it has a little storybook that goes with it, but the whole objective is the kid gives up some of the candy in return for a small gift. And it's called
Switch
Switch
gift, like
Witch.
An encyclopedia or
well,
something?
I mean, whatever you want to make the gift, right? Encyclopedia is a
Kid's going to be like, this is a raw deal here.
That's a terrible gift, right? They have to be incentivized to give up some of the candy, but it's a great way to, basically probably cut their candy in half. and do it quickly.
I think
I know you said you dump your kids' candy.
I do dump my kids' candy, but not for safety reasons. I don't think my neighbors are trying to poison them, but I don't want them being on a sugar high every day of the year.
When I was a kid growing up, there was this guy in our neighborhood who would give out a handful of nuts, like pecans and walnuts every year, and I'll tell you, in the morning, his driveway was covered with those nuts. Right?
Yeah,
and you could, if you're my parent, you could have dumped those, and I would have been fine with you.
Yeah,
dumping those.
I think if you bought my kids the Switch Witch, that one would get lost in between Halloween seasons. Here's another one. I saw on the news the other day the challenges for some elderly folks in dealing with trick-or-treaters. They don't mind the idea of giving out candy, but they also don't like the idea of being up late, opening their door for strangers. It's scary to some of them. So one of the things last minute here is that you could call up some of your older clients and make sure they've got a game plan. Ask them if they want help with putting out a bucket of candy out front with a sign on it that says, "Take one."
I did that one year, actually, because I was just being lazy, and I put out a bucket with actually a sign of a face, like a person's face, and said, "I'm watching you, please take one." It's probably a creepy thing, but
Come on, kids, get out of here.
I know. Anyway,
but yeah, a good idea for some of your older clients, making sure they're in good shape with this.
What about taking the children? Your children, right, to your client's house, especially elderly clients, maybe ones who are widowed, single clients, taking them in their costumes and and take them out there, bring a bottle of wine or maybe some candy for your client. And I think they'll love that.
Yeah, kids or grandkids, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
You can take them out, just do a little bit of a rounds, drop off something that would be fun, and they'd enjoy seeing your kids. If you have some clients who are in retirement communities, all the better.
Oh, that's
take
a
them
great
in, let them see everybody.
Hey, Steven, I think you have some Michael Myers hair on your jacket right there.
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Yeah,
I think you had it for the entire episode, by the way.
This, by the way, is the most difficult mask to breathe in. I had to wear this for a couple of minutes today. Look at the nose. That's the only breathing holes out of this thing.
This had to be. You won in terms of masks.
This
had
to be made in the 80s with these tiny nose holes on it. But a couple of Halloween ideas.
Yep.
If you had more time on your hands, Matt Oxley and I talked recently on a video about the idea of doing a little open house at your office.
Okay.
Where you have some clients come in for a little trunk or treating type thing. Or
I think it's a great idea.
You help them with, maybe you have a face painter there who paint the kids' faces. You can have a little bit of fun with this prior to the official holiday season, and people will remember it. It's a good way to engage people in their social side. And again, linking this back to Facebook, take some pictures, share this information, and people will be glad you did.
I think that's fantastic advice. So again, thanks for joining us today for our Halloween episode. If you have a question, use hashtag #AskStephenandKevin. You can use that on Twitter. You can use it on Instagram, and we'll feature your question on the show.
And check out our podcast anywhere
call.
on iTunes. Ask the Stephen and Kevin Show is available, and give us a good rating.
Yeah, give us a review.
Boost our rankings. So, hey, thanks everybody. I asked my oldest son, "What are you going to say when you get to people's doors this year?" I'm hoping he learned from last year, trick or treat and all that. He goes, "May I please have some of your candy?"
He's like the most polite trick-or-treater ever.
Yeah, so where does this politeness come from?
I
never
love
get that. At home.
I can't stand the ones who are just kind of rude about it.
Bag, candy,
or they don't say anything. Like I actually make them say trick-or-treat.
That guy, huh?
Yeah,
Before you give them a toothbrush or an apple or something for their little gift.
I am that guy.